It is time for
shopping.
The final collection. So we're going to start off with buying all of the remaining things, which is basically my opportunity to open up the handy-dandy art book. So I guess starting with some character design notes for the bosses. I thought this one was kind of neat. Well, I was skimming this just before we started.
Yeah.
I designed all 8 bosses for X8. That may very well be an X-Series first. When we first started talking about X8, I asked if it would be okay for me to go ahead with my own ideas, even if it meant that I'd be moving away from what was generally expected. My request was approved, and I felt like a dog off of its leash. So that's how we got things like Sunflowers and Ants and Manowar.
It's weird because some of them, like Yeti, don't really look like they fit stylistically with the others.
Well, that one... So, what you just said matches more with this other thing.
Sweet.
I'm already on 0, so I'm getting there. For the boss designs, I followed in the footsteps of the X1 imagery that I love so much. Without forgetting about the polygon and figurine aspects, I made sure to apply everything I had learned from Inafune and Kaji. In the end, I put every ounce of myself into these designs, and I am very pleased with how they turned out. I love all of the X8 boss characters equally. So, I think it's really kind of cool that they had one guy that actually designed all of the Mavericks for this one, since, like...
Is that guy named at all?
Yeah, that is Yoshikawa. They only use the last names. So,
Gotcha.
I'm sure there's a credits section in here somewhere, but I guess, while we're finishing up here, I'll go ahead with this one. It's about, X-Zero and Axel. X is straight-edged, powerful, and will meet his enemies head-on. Refined, beautiful strokes of the blade are more Zero speed, while Axel prefers to shoot in every direction first and ask questions later. These are the unique traits that are of the main characters that I tried to portray in my illustrations, and that's how we got that, the group shot. So, like, X is charging forward, Zero's got the sort of nice sharp edge, and Axel's just shooting Axel guns all over the Axel place.
And I'm guessing we can't read anything.
Yeah, well, so that one will be relevant in the next episode, so that's not too far off. You're in for more art book, everybody.
We're only about halfway done with shopping.
Right. Well, no. So I think I basically just focused on Alia for the time being. So we're doing our trimmed up stuff, and actually, I think there is an alien note in here, but I'll get to those in a bit. So Squeeze Bomb, so open that door. And we've got our next capsule here.
I think these are the last parts?
It's close. There's going to be one in Trilobite stage as well.
Oh, right.
So I'm a fan of this Buster. It's actually something that really hasn't been covered a lot as a standard shot.
Mm-hmm.
We've had the overlapping charge shots in the past, like an X3, and those are always sort of wide and powerful. The Hermes Buster in this one, instead of having one big powerful shot, it has a spread shot that kind of works like the Contra spread gun.
Yeah.
And it's actually pretty useful utility-wise. And you'll see there in the background I intentionally misstepped on one of those stages. That's because we don't want to trigger the "you did it perfectly" medal again, because that will actually prevent us from getting the next one. So we're going through kind of haphazardly, like I didn't really care about the speed on that one, and we've got the last rare medal for this stage.
Yay!
And I think for good measure I fight Cutman again, just because
with the full Hermes armor? Or with
I think I do just with Alia, yeah. It's kind of to show that there's really no threat going on here, because she's basically, like, dead at that point, and doesn't even matter. And then just because we're at the end of the stage, it teleport out normally. One thing that I try to do in this collection episode is highlight everybody, so you'll see all 3 Navigators in this video. They really are basically just...
Yeah, you will see all of them a little bit, but I cut out a lot of the actual stage work.
Yeah. Mostly I wanted to show that they're all present, and again, they are basically just palette swaps of standard armor X, then Zero and Axel. They don't have any of the special abilities, but they do all have access to the same upgrades. And the way that works is, with the exception of the Sigma Blade, which has some New Game Plus oddities kind of going on with it for layer, if you get a rare medal or unlock a power-up for X-Zero or Axel, it will mirror onto their corresponding Navigator. So if you get a weapon up for X, it'll be there for Aelia as well. You have to buy it twice, but I kind of think that adds more extra replay value or puts this exploit to good use. And since we're powering up the Navigators real quick, the X series is considered to be a guy's story, quote-unquote, but everyone loves female characters. I wanted to give them the traits they would need to become loved by everybody when they become commercial goods. They did a lot. So X8 had a line of little figure statues, which I desperately want. I'm mad at myself. I had an opportunity a couple years ago to buy them. It's a set of 6. It's X-Zero and Axel, and then the 3 Navigators, which is really kind of rare. And I can't fucking find them anywhere, and I'm so mad, because they're real expensive now, and all the people that have pictures of them are like, look what I have, they're not for sale. It's like, no, but I want those. You should give them to me. So, yeah, use the hammer and the gravity weapon to drop down there. It's in that same sort of spike vertical section. Don't worry about the rank. If you quit, you basically automatically get a D, but that won't override your prior thing. And that gave X double barrier, which also means Aelia got it. That's real important. That's the invincibility period extending item.
Yeah.
Probably one of the most important ones. And next up, we're going to be getting an armor capsule. So for the other 2 Navigators, well, actually all 3, but they focus on the newer ones first. Palette is one of those absent-minded types, so I focused on pastel colors for her. Slayer has more of a divine air about her, so I went with rich and royal purple. As far as Aelia is concerned, she brought sex appeal to a man's world. Thank you, Japan. But by changing her hairstyle in X8, I was trying to add some cuteness to her character. I mean, I guess. I do like the color theory on the first 2, though. I think that's really neat. It also, it matches their voice acting and everything, too, so it's a good across-the-board design approach that I think works very well. And we got to use Melt Creeper for that, so the 2 non-Crystal Wall collection items are rooted in really dumb names, which I'm a fan of. And we're actually going to be using Crystal Wall in just a moment.
Yay!
So
I was concerned for a moment there.
I think these other ones are all about main illustrations and stuff. I don't know if they'll go into any spoiler-ish stuff. I love this one. I don't know if you want to put it on screen at all.
If you can grab that.
It's on the wiki, yeah. I think it's really cool. I think it's funny that it exists in an official regard, but Zero is only shown from, the waist down. Not even the back of his head. He's not there.
Because it's pants. We're really concerned about pants.
Whenever I do a main illustration, I'm always trying to figure out how to fit as much of the story into one scene as possible. You can see Sigma in the background, and that part I'm not going to talk about.
There's an item that we do not get in here called Metal Generator.
Oh, yeah, so Metal Generator I end up not buying in this, not because it's inconvenient at all, but because it basically means, if you remember when we did the exploit, it was really loud. It had the sound of the metals counting up. What Metal Generator does is it basically makes it so that when you're walking, any movement you make, it doesn't have to be steps, it can just be distance traveled. It'll generate, I think, 50 or so metals, which is really useful if you don't have the exploit. You would want to buy that early on, or as early as you could get it. But it makes the noise every time you walk, so since I don't have any need for it, I figured I'd just spare us the extra fucking sound, because once you have it, you would need to, sell it again to get rid of it, and it's just, okay, I'm just gonna not bother with it, just for the sake of everybody's ears. But yeah, that's basically everything out of the book that isn't spoilery or relevant yet. So the rest of this is basically just collecting things, which it looks like we only have 2 major chunks left of that, so not really a big deal. This route, I'm pretty happy with the optimization of this run. There's still a lot of stuff to go back to, but I think that since it is a modern game that should... This is good. Oh, this is also an opportunity for me to show off more of Axel's weapons, so that's the one from Dark Manus. I think Axel's version is the best. I like Zero's spin a lot, but it feels a lot cheesier, but that one's just fun to watch because they curve all over the place.
Leave it to me.
And then you want to come back here with the headbutt helmet in order to get up here, and then you get that medal.
Also, this dude shows up.
And we got Vile again. Which actually, you know what? Fuck it. I'll just talk about this now since he's
Nah,
present.
don't
You
worry
sure?
about it. Yeah.
You sure?
But I do like how in this game they got rid of you having to pick and choose which upgrades you get. It's just fuck it, buy everything, use everything at the same time.
You stack everything up, basically.
Maximum power.
It shows the modernization again. Like, what I was going to say a moment ago is I kind of feel like having that kind of backtracking makes for more playtime in a way that kind of makes sense given how the power-up system works in the game. So you never really feel like it's unjustified or anything like that. It's just, you know, there's more to do. There's more to go back to. And when you're paying a $60 for a disc game on a current-gen console, you want more content, and you want the ability to replay and stuff like that. So I feel like it still feels like an X game. You still feel like you're getting stronger, which is the traditional design aspect of everything. But it doesn't feel forced or bad. And that's the Giga attack in this game. It's exclusively on the full Icarus armor, and it didn't hit on that, I don't think, which is kind of a bummer, but that's already collection. We're good across the board.
Yay.
So coming up next is going to be some Endgame content now, finally.
You got through that stage.
Equip this new ability and board the Capsule X. I've prepared parts for you.
It should have the same system as the other one.
I thought something like this might happen someday. I hope this is the last time we need to use weapons of war like this, X. I really do.